One thing that should be strongly emphasized is that history should not be bunched into separate categories, but is one big long parallel story of everything, like how there were tiny mammoths in northeastern Russia when the pyramids were being built. But could we link ancient China to Martin Luther's Protestant Reformation? Well, yes, that's exactly what this video is about. So, how does this all work? First, we start off in northern China, during the Song dynasty, just north of the Chinese border, where there have always been many various non-Chinese tribes, often referred to as the equivalent of barbarians by many in China, perhaps partially known for contributing to the fall of Rome later as the Huns. China's tactic for keeping these various clans at bay was the classic tactic of divide and conquer, just without necessarily the conquer part. Many Chinese officials would pay individual clans to go to war with each other, keeping them from mounting a devastating offense on the Chinese heartland. The wall helped a bit too, I guess. This wasn't really favorable for those living outside the border, and there have been attempts to unite the clans against China, all were thwarted with their leaders killed, until the year 1205, when someone named Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan, yes that's how it's pronounced, decided that he also had enough of this, and decided to unite the Mongol tribes against China. They quickly started conquering surrounding areas, including entering into China, and in just a few decades, the Song dynasty had collapsed, and by 1271, the Mongols had established their own government, known as the Yuan dynasty, which is quite a feat considering they were also busy conquering the rest of the world. In the year 1279, the Mongols had established an empire from St. Petersburg to Guangzhou, and they used their huge sphere of influence to transfer people and knowledge around their realm, and effectively rebooted the old Silk Road trade system, allowing goods, people, ideas, and much more to once again easily travel between Europe and East Asia. Unfortunately, one thing that also travels easily when traveling is easy is disease, and the bubonic plague, starting off in Central Asia, eventually made its way into Europe, likely through Italian merchants running away from the siege of Kaffa in modern-day Ukraine. The disease then spread throughout the 1340s and 50s, out through Italy and Constantinople, into almost all of Europe, except Poland. Poland's completely unaffected, killing between a third and half the population. Cities were temporarily deserted, and the feudal society that ran Europe at the time couldn't function as it had prior, with a significantly smaller population of serfs and laborers to work for the manors. The few that remained were now valuable enough in comparison to start demanding fairer wages, and one thing that was innovated throughout the mid-15th century were technologies that required less manpower, and one of those such inventions being the reliable printing press. Before the printing press, only the rich and the church, which was also getting rich, could afford their own books. And books were incredibly valuable, since each copy had to be handwritten by a scribe and took months to make at best. The printing press wouldn't have exactly impressed someone in the 21st century, but it was huge. Well, literally too. Books were now easier to make, and more people could be exposed to more ideas, and important for this scenario, could read the Bible for themselves, like a big boy, especially when it was translated into languages they actually spoke. Not only could pre-existing ideas be spread rapidly, so could new ideas. Over the centuries, the church had the idea to get corrupt, and soon a priest named Martin Luther had the idea of not liking that idea. And when they started offering get-out-of-hell-free cards, the printing press came in very handy in Martin Luther and his 95 Protestant ideas to improve the church. But then people disagreed and eventually the whole thing just split up. Obviously, this is a very simplified version of everything, and didn't do all these historical events quite the justice they deserved. But to be fair, it's over 250 years of history spanning thousands of kilometers. This video is to illustrate how historical events can be linked in causation, more than this happened and then this happened, but more like this happened which affected how this would happen. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it interesting, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to learn something new every Sunday.